am invictus, I am undefeated. That's what I'm going to talk about together with Michael Hummel. About 2 weeks ago, I
Yeah.
heard all this music while I was here. And I was like, hey, that's weird. You know, the music festival starts in June. So what was going on? And I didn't know literally till the day after it had finished, and it was the Invictus Games.
Oh,
So I had seen all these banners here in The Hague about the Invictus Games, and I had no clue what it is about. Well, Invictus, undefeated, unconquered, and it's about those who have been in battle wherever around the world, and who have decided and who got hurt in battle, and as a result have some disabilities. I'm not sure if they're also including the mental disabilities, but probably they go hand in hand. And well, I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's a bummer that I missed it. But you know, still, I want um, to share what's going on there, because I think that it's such a good cause that they go out there and show the world that despite something is missing, something is different, we are still good the way we are. And it was very funny because there was this 20-year-old, and apparently he had been a technician, and he said, look at this, and this is my little fin, like the
yeah.
fish, you know. It was so funny how he said it. So for those who are curious, and not only want to watch this, because I assume that you might want to watch this, on my storyline, I shared a bunch of things about the Invictus Games. Fun fact, it says 2020 because of Corona, and eventually, of course, it was in 2022. But a lot of stuff has been printed with 2020 on there. So when I was thinking about the Invictus Games, I also had to think about you. I also tagged you in some things having to do with basketball, wheelchair basketball, probably
Yeah,
is.
I've done wheelchair basketball and wheelchair racing.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, you must recognize something. And I know you participated in a number of games. And you actually, on the picture that I've posted for our live, we can see you with a whole bunch of medals around your neck.
That was fun.
So
I
tell us about it.
When I was 10 years old, I started doing the wheelchair racing, and I was getting a lot of medals. I have 57 medals, 42 of them are gold. And the last few years, I would always say, the last day I'm going to go, I'm going to have all my medals on me. So the last day, I put all my medals on me, and the entire day just rolled around the place, and it got me in the newspaper. So I got interviewed. So that was really cool. So that was a lot. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, got a lot of attention.
So how did you get up and end up in Ireland?
When I was 19, I got picked to go on what was called the Irish youth team. 15 kids from America went to Ireland, participated in games, and we toured around Dublin. Went to different historical sites, castles, zoos, things like that. We met the ambassador from Ireland to America, who was Jean Kennedy Smith, who was John Senior's sister, which was really cool because I'm a big history buff. So I was like busting, I was like going nuts, and we were in her house. It was a mansion, but like we would see these pictures on her coffee table that I have in books. That was surreal. That blew me away. So that was really cool, and yeah, it was 2 weeks of that, and I got 3 gold and 1 silver there. But actually, the silver, I like that one better because they made it. The gold medals were the same as we got in America. The silver ones had all this like Ireland pictures and decorations on it, so it was really cool. That was the one I liked the most.
Yeah, that sounds good. Well, it must have been something for you to go all the way to Ireland. especially from the US, and then join an Irish team of all things.
Well, they were all Americans, but it was still cool because it was the first and only time I'd ever been out of the country, and it was interesting. And I was away from my parents, and I was a kid, so that was fun. And the drinking age was 18, and I was 19, so that was good too. That was a lot of fun too. So yeah, that was just interesting.
Yeah, one of the things you actually said about it was camaraderie, and that
Yeah,
was one of the things I saw coming from the stories of those who participated too. Camaraderie.
yeah. We were like I said, we were toured around Dublin for 2 weeks, and all Dublin and Wexford for a week, 2 weeks, and we were in a bus and like dorm rooms for the entire time, other than when we went to castles and historical sites. So it was a lot of downtime and being in dorm rooms and like living room kind of places and just hanging out and talking and telling stories, and we got really close.
That sounds good. Sounds quite the experience at 19 years old. So, for
Yeah.
those who just joined, like Angela, we are talking
Oh, yeah.
about I am Invictus, as in I am undefeated. We are talking about the Invictus Games, which actually took place not too long ago here in The Hague. They held all these banners here, and I had no clue what I was looking at. It didn't say anything to me. And I did hear the first day all the music, and I was like, hey, I hear all these Dutch songs from The Hague. What's going on? I didn't understand.
I didn't know when they were playing, but like the Invictus Games is big in my house because my wife loves the royal family, and my mother-in-law is English, is from England.
Okay.
Well, her family's from England, so like yeah, that was is big in this family.
Well, they were actually playing the Dutch songs, which well, they are English songs, but from people who are from The Hague.
Hmm.
So, and I was listening to it, and some of the Radar Love, you must know that song from the Golden Earring. Everyone knows it. It's all over the world. It's been, I
What's
mean,
that?
so many people have different versions of it. Radar Love.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, I know. I've heard it.
Yeah. It has
I've
this,
heard
this nice, cool snare drum intro
it.
split.
Yeah.
So, um, so I looked a little bit up about the Invictus Games, and yes, I read the day after they had gone away that Prince Harry had been here. And actually, we were just able to go there. I could have gone there on my bike. I just
Yeah.
witnessed the whole thing. So it was, yeah, I felt a bit sorry that I didn't go there, but it intrigued me so much. I mean, my word is inclusion. And I think that Invictus and speaking out and your word empowered, it all nicely aligns
Yeah.
with the whole Invictus thing.
Yeah, that's very true. It all aligns very well.
Yes. So we came up with 7 strengths, 7 perspectives, whatever you want to call it. Well, actually, you did most of it.
Yeah.
I only added a few. Um, and the first one is discipline. So
Mhm.
I'm going to read what it says, unless you are saying no. I've got it all printed out. But
So yeah, so I'm to do anything today other than you think.
okay, so discipline is keep doing something, especially when it's unfamiliar, uncomfortable, and possibly even scary. At some point, when you have done it enough, doing something, applying discipline, will change into habits. So, what is it you would like to add to the whole discipline thing?
Mm, you're right. I mean, that's exactly right. To me, discipline just meant going on the path of self betterment and doing something that you may not like now that will improve your life in the future.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
and
that's true.
if you keep doing it, then like you said, it becomes a habit.
So, how did this work when you started with the the wheelchair basketball, and which was the other one again?
Wheelchair basketball and wheelchair racing.
And wheelchair racing. How often did you practice for it?
But basketball was once a week,
Mm-hmm.
and racing was just they only had one weekend a year. So I would just like I was a kid, I was stupid. I didn't practice as much as I should have,
Mm-hmm.
but I would just do like little practices here and there, like a few weeks before, but I should have done more. But
Okay.
the basketball was every week.
Okay. Well, it's once in a week isn't that much actually.
No,
So it's doable,
yeah.
absolutely doable. So for those people who have been in a wheelchair, it's not something you want to do outside, I suppose, unless it's completely flat, and even then, I
Well, yeah.
mean, the resistance from the pavement. Oh,
Gravel is not my friend.
no, no,
No.
I totally believe that gravel isn't your friend. So, as for discipline, I don't know. What do you do nowadays? Which requires discipline when it comes at least to working out or
Well, what do I do like, when it gets hard? You mean?
no? Are there still things that you do? Like for me, for instance, um, once once in a week I do stability training. That's easy. Well, it's not easy. To a degree, it's easy. I mean, if it were easy, I could stand on my right foot or my left foot for as long as I want while, throwing balls back and forth.
Yeah.
That's not the case, but it's easy enough, as in it's in there. That's where it comes down to when it comes to habit. As for the boxing, that's a whole different thing because I have to feel like I really want to do it. I always want to do it. Let's
Yeah.
be specific about that. But when I'm tired, I get dizzy, and we always need to have enough time so she can realign my wrist again. So my heart rate goes through the roof the moment that I start. It's usually somewhere in the 170s, which is virtually impossible because that would have been 100% plus. Then again, they say that means that you have sports heart, which actually showed on one of the CTs, was CT X-rays, something along those lines. So, are you still there?
I'm here. I'm here. I'm listening.
Okay, okay, okay.
I,
Because
I
the
6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. I lift weights. I have weights in the house. I don't go to the gym, so I just do free weights, and that's how I keep in shape. And plus, I walk my dog like 6 times a day, or something like that. But
yeah.
there's not very many places out in Vegas that I can do wheelchair racing anymore because when it gets hot, it's like I don't want to do that because you might like
Oh my
get
God, when it gets hot and the pavement gets hot, then your wheels must get hot too.
no, not really. Just you don't. The wheels don't get hot. It's just a matter of not being well, not being able to breathe. It it's hot and it hurts, and after a while you work out and you get dead tired and you don't want to do it, and it's just not a good thing. Plus, you get like dehydrated and wouldn't be good.
Yeah. Yeah, fortunately, I can always choose whether I walk. Well, walking is more difficult for me than to get on my bike.
Yeah.
So I love to go on my bike as well, and I can put a bottle in there, so I always have something to drink with me when I'm on my bike. And
Hmm.
when I'm walking nowadays, since I'm no longer using my crutches, I can actually hold a bottle or tumbler or whatever it is. So
Yeah.
that's actually pretty cool. So okay, so going from discipline to well, no, let's stick for a second with discipline, because what I really liked was the, in the stories of the people who participated in the Invictus Games. They
Hmm.
actually said, for some out there, it was like that they didn't feel like there was any purpose left. But the moment that they decided to join or just watch people doing all of this, that made all the difference for them. and they found the courage to get up again and get back at it.
I get that.
And yeah,
When
so
I,
that's
when I was 10, two big things happened. I started going to basketball practice, and I started going to a camp for disabled kids. And the first two times I ever felt like I belonged was in those two times. Like, because I was a shy kid. I was introverted. I felt bad. I had the oh woe's me thing going on, and I had that just depression, and I just crumbled into myself. And when I started playing basketball and going to the camp, I had people to talk to and hang out with, and the relationships opened up. It was a very good time.
yeah, that's absolutely. I agree with you. I didn't work out. I didn't go to the gym at school when I was a teenager. So I had this friend, and she actually played. What was it? I think she played tennis wheelchair. Well, she did something in the wheelchair. I don't know which sport it was. And she
Hmm.
actually wanted me to join her because I already had problems with my knees back then. So I couldn't jump, I couldn't run. So those were my first experiences. And I have to say, I actually liked it. So, yeah, was. I think well, badminton probably it was badminton. So
What?
yeah, that was kind of cool. So she told me all the little ropes about a wheelchair,
Yeah.
including the electric wheelchairs. So yeah. Okay, so going from discipline to habits, habits are actions you take every day. At
Yeah.
first, it requires discipline, but after 30 to 90 days on average, so some say back in the days they said it's 90 days, now they say it can be 30 days. It will become so natural that it can be considered a habit. Well, a little secret, but I've noticed that even after 90 days, something can all of a sudden stop. I mean, for instance, I would write down all my things in the high performance planner from Brandon Burchard. Then he switched to the electronic version, like the app, and then I stopped writing it. But I also didn't go into the app every day. And so then I quit. And it was like, what happened here? And the same was with the boxing. I used to go boxing every Friday and I really, really loved it. But
Yeah.
because of the sinusitis I got, with the headache and the dizziness and all that stuff, I couldn't do it anymore. And so I want to get back at it, but the main thing is, and that's what you said, and that's what I noticed, and that's what I call intention. It's so important to set yourself up the day before
Yeah.
for those actions. So if you literally see yourself doing the things,
Yeah.
it
If
makes it
you
easier.
if you set yourself up and put things where you know it'll remind you and trigger you to take that action, that helps a lot. And I think when it comes to habits, it's all relative. It's not like a certain 90 days, 60 days. It's just however long it takes to stick. Because I know for me, it's not any set days. So
Hmm.
I think it depends on the person.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. And of course, how easy or how difficult it is. So, like for instance, I'm doing, and that has nothing to do with the Invictus Games, but I'm doing Spanish right now, which
Yeah.
actually has to do with my ability to travel more. And so I haven't quite figured out how it works just yet, that app. I thought, at midnight that's when the next day starts, but apparently it works a little bit differently. The 24 hours starts after you finish your last lesson.
Hmm.
But I've been going on for practically 150 days or over 150 days. I don't know. So I'm getting there. So that's an easy routine because I like doing it. And when it's quiet, and I'll just get it. But it's also the messages I get, which
Yeah.
help me going.
Yeah. I did Spanish in high school. I didn't do well. I did like 2.5 years, and then I dropped out because I could.
I dropped out with German because I could write before the final exam.
Like,
To
I don't need
the
this
teacher.
degree. On. That was it.
Yeah, 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 yes. I recognize it. And it was funny because I'm both an alpha and a beta girl.
Hmm.
So I had both forms of math and also physics, and then all the languages and economics. So that for most people doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I'm
Mm.
highly analytical. That's something that's a fact. So from habits, let's go to routines.
Yeah.
Routines are a set of habits with a specific goal in mind. For instance, pushing you towards the life you really want. And the first thing I think about with routines is actually the whole fitness regimen,
Yeah.
which I
Um,
kind of like.
yeah. I always try to work out, and that's actually how the Wheels and Warriors started because I wanted to keep myself accountable. So I would make sure that I would do videos, pictures, put them on my IG, and then that would just make me held accountable and make sure that people knew what was going to happen. So that's why I did that because I knew left to my own devices it would stop.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
When you have a certain routine, then you get to do it. We know that coming Monday we go live together, so on the weekend we need to prepare.
yeah,
And somewhere during the weekend up till Monday, that's when we have a lot of contact. And actually, it's kind of cool. So, but yeah, as for routines, I guess I have more routines than I'm aware of. And one of the routines is actually walking here in the area. So the restaurant I walk to is open from Wednesday right until Sunday. On Monday and Tuesday it's closed, which sort of disrupts my routine. So when the weather is a little bit good, then I just go and I walk there. So I've got my brace in my backpack in case I need it, and I usually phone them beforehand because around dinner time it's pretty busy, especially since everything is open again, due to COVID.
yeah,
Um, but it's nice. It's like a little under a mile, so that's it's very doable for me. And if they're closed, then usually I walk on, but that's not always the best thing to do. But I've got the brace. I just walk a little bit slower, and but it's a good routine to keep on going.
yeah.
And my other routine actually is um, every other Sunday I play drums because I at that moment the person who cannot uh, cannot deal with the vibrations from the drum kit, she isn't there.
Hmm.
So then I can enjoy myself. It's at my attic, and then I play the drums. So nice routine.
I tried the drums and I was not good.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you when it comes to working out, drums is something. Well, it's my heart rate can go up pretty quickly depending on how quickly I move around because there are two hands, 2 feet,
Not
and
bad.
yeah, and it's not just a double bass drum. I mean, you can do a lot of things, with going high speed with two hands, and especially when you have to exchange, you have to switch between hands and feet. That's and then going up in speed because I literally go up in speed. That makes all the difference. And then at some point, sweat is dripping down my back. It's one of the reasons why I only wear like a long sleeve a long t-shirt because it's so hot, playing the drums. So I can understand why a lot of people out there, the guys out there, actually don't even wear a shirt. Yeah, it makes sense to me. It's
Yeah. I never wear long sleeve shirts. It's always too hot here.
yeah, yeah. I guess so in Vegas.
It's windy in the winter, and I probably should wear long sleeve shirts, but I just never do.
Okay. Well, most of the time here in the Netherlands, I wear long sleeved shirts. I almost always almost have them up till my elbow, like here. Um, and that's about it. And usually when I go outside, I'm dressed like this. So, and most people are like, huh? How's that possible? But, it's because for me, working out, when I'm walking, I'm already working out. So it's very different compared to other people because I really have to, uh, well, I know
I
what you're talking about, but no, I don't, Laura.
can't stand that show. Sorry.
Yeah. But as for yeah, for me, working out is I immediately start sweating, and so it makes sense that I'm not wearing a winter coat or anything when other people do it. It's actually when it starts freezing, I might. That's where the difference is. So, unless you want to say something about habits and routines, let's go to strength. So I did notice they did powerlifting at the Invictus Games.
Oh wow, nice.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I saw them rowing, but that was on the machines. They even worked with those arrows. So that was kind of cool.
I tried to do arrows. I was not good. I was just happy if I hit like the entire thing, no matter where the target was.
Well, in the Netherlands, it's not normal to do anything with arrows. So when I talked to some Canadian people and I saw their pictures, and they actually go hunt for food, um, that was that was kind of nice. Um, CrossFit, if you mean working out, I haven't been able to work out normally since I don't know 2014. So um,
Has to do uh,
it's like the circuit training, right? Where you can
yeah,
use kettlebells and all that stuff, and
endurance and
then
stuff.
yeah, yeah. When the gyms were still open, I would do it, and at some point I actually stopped doing it. But it was one of the few things because there was always someone around. I could tell them like, okay, this is what I cannot do, this is what I can do, so I'm going to do it slowly.
Yeah,
Uh, that's most of the time what I can do. I can do things, but I have to do it slowly. So, Josie, you do actually CrossFit? I'm surprised.
I like it. I don't do it. I've watched it
Ah, okay.
and watched.
Yeah, it's nice. I actually have some short videos on my YouTube channel. And what was the guy called? He had a Spanish name. Um, it was like, oh my God, he put me to the test again, like 30 or 40 minutes. And because I would do it at times that no one was there, then I got the full workout. So, it was kind of cool. So I would go and hop with my crutches uh, in the gym
Yeah,
until I was right there. Then they wanted me to walk on the treadmill, and I said, "No, can't do. Sorry." And then we would do other stuff. And yeah, yeah, I get it, Laura. I can understand that you miss it. Okay, so we were talking about strength. Strength can be mental or physical. Uh, you came up with that. I think that's so true. I believe both are important because they can position you for a better life in whatever your endeavors are. Physical strength usually doesn't mean much if there isn't a goal to guide it towards. And the letter I wrote down and what I meant with it is um, if you know what you are training for, if you have a certain purpose, then you can use that strength and that power to whatever purpose it is.
yeah. I
But
think
yes,
I think the mental strength is more important than the physical strength because the mental strength can help carry the physical.
I agree.
Because
I
if you don't,
totally agree.
you can have physical, but if you're not happy or you don't really want to do something or you're not in like a good headspace, it's not helping you.
Well, you can see it from two perspectives. So one is you need to have the right headspace. Totally true. But also all the other things we were talking about, routines, disciplines, the habits, all that stuff.
Hmm.
But also how to build up strength. that's all related to what you have going on in your mind and how you perceive it.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's important too.
Yeah, but
The-
it's true that when things happen in your life which distract you, they try to keep it up.
Yeah, you have to, and that's why I think, for me at least, meditation is important because things can distract you, but the whole thing about that is being distracted and then letting it go, and then going back to where your focus is.
Hmm.
So that's why that's important to me.
Yeah, sometimes you need to get back to um, back to basics.
Yeah,
Like, okay, this is what normal is, you know, zero. Let's start
yeah,
from there again. And that's what meditation. It really helps meditation to get there. Just get back at ease again, relaxed, and then okay,
yeah,
let's go again. As for the mental strength, despite, of course, what they were doing with working out at Invictus Games, I think the mental strength was even more important. Like, okay, we get back in the game again. We were in good shape when we were surfing, and let's get back in shape or remain in shape,
yeah,
and you know, keep
yeah,
doing it. And that's one of the biggest struggles that I have been running into all the time. Every time I cannot work out, I really need to watch what's going on because I'm bound to gain weight again. Because first of all, my muscles they decrease, and the less muscles you have, the less calories you can burn. And second of all, I physically burn less calories because I do not get out there anymore. So
yeah. I think mental strength is important because if you aren't mentally strong and then you have a distraction, you can go off the rails and then just go in a totally different direction where you don't want to go and is bad for you and can make your situation or what you're going through much worse.
yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree. And that's why it's so important to always, wake up with a positive mindset
Yeah.
and go for it. And even when you're not in a positive mindset, do something which makes you feel good.
Hmm.
And even if you can't realize getting yourself in that mood, start writing things down, and at some point things will change.
You have to have the right mindset, and just do little actions toward your goal or what you want to accomplish or whatever, and then over time that'll get you where you want to go, and then it'll be a big like accomplishment, and then so those little habits may look small at the time, but over a longer period of time, it has a big effect on you.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. And it's just reminding yourself of that one thing or the two things or three things you want to do, and just doing them again and again and again. That usually really helps.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, I think that's where consistency and commitment are most important because if you are excited in your mind and you gain commitment and you say you're going to do this and you burn, like Tony Robbins says, you burn your boats and you, you're committed and you add consistency to that. That's a big step.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And even with routines, yeah, it can happen that routines get disturbed, because of illness or whatever it is, or due to holidays.
Yeah,
And that's probably why people start their routines again at January 1st, and then at some point
yeah,
they stop again. Um, so the start date isn't that important. What's important is, and that's usually why the buddy system works best,
mm,
because a buddy will actually reel you back in. And
yeah.
that's, yeah,
No, I was going to say the buddy system is important. Because you have to have if you can't be accountable to yourself, you need somebody to be accountable to. And I think if you do fall off the rails and you miss a day, it's important not to say, okay, I'm done. I'm going to start January 1st. Just give yourself 2 days max and then keep going.
Yeah, and also pat yourself on the shoulder when you've
Don't be mean.
done it. Tell yourself, "At a girl, at a boy," in your case.
Yeah. Don't be mean to yourself.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and one of the things when I go to that restaurant, it's not just to walk when I'm there. At first, I really needed to sit down and I really needed to put my feet up. But later on, it was just nice to be able to sit there and have something, like a hot tea or whatever it was, and just enjoy it. And then sometimes I would write things down, and then okay, and then I knew I would be rested. But um, my um, win, or not my win, my reward was actually getting that cup of tea.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
I give myself a cup of tea too because I'm a caffeine fiend.
hmm Yeah, I like it with fresh mint and fresh ginger, and I don't have that at home.
Hmm.
So when I go out somewhere and I've got it with fresh ginger and fresh tea, I love that. And besides that, I'm a huge Starbucks fan, but I haven't been to Starbucks in a while now. So
My wife is like huge on Starbucks.
yeah.
He's like
Well,
loves it.
in case you were wondering.
Yeah, I have like three of those in my house.
Yeah, well, I've got 10 of those at least. Two sets of five. Okay. From Starbucks and strength to endurance. Endurance means the ability to keep going in the face of supposed weakness or defeat. You can actually tell when you have written something down, or I have. It means never giving up. Endurance can also be about keeping in going a little bit further, and or longer than before, requiring the aforementioned mental strength.
Yeah,
So,
I think
especially when you were talking about the basketball running, that's of course
mm,
a very good example of endurance.
yeah. Oh yeah, because that's 48 minutes of a game that you have to keep going. And you can't stop. And like one thing about wheelchair basketball, if like they don't have set amount of players on a team, so if we can only find 10 players or 5 players on a team, or 10 players on a team, and only 5 show up to a tournament, guess what? You're playing the entire game. So you have to keep going. You can't
Mm-hmm.
stop. So I think when it comes to that or any other sport or working out, uh, endurance is important because you have to keep going and you have to go as far as you can go. And it's I go I like the idea of going to failure, going until you can't go anymore.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It's for me, when I used to work out, when it's like this, shaking,
Yeah,
then I know I
yeah,
did good.
oh yeah. I it's funny. I used to tell my players on when I went to basketball, if you didn't fall out of your chair twice a game, you didn't do your job.
I was watching those videos and I saw the people, literally falling down with their chairs on their side, and was like, oh my God, that must hurt.
Yeah. I fell one time. I was going full force on the court. There was a loose ball rolling on the floor, and the other player tapped it underneath me. So I rolled over it, and I went out of my chair. Well, I didn't go out of my chair, but I went up and hit the wood right here.
Ooh,
Yeah.
ow.
And the funny is, well, not funny, but the bad thing was, the rule was you had to be strapped into your chair for protection. So when I went up and over, the chair went on top of me.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I get
That,
it.
that was not fun.
So how did you get out?
As soon as I hit the floor, like all my coaches and my mother were like hovering over me. So I had any number of people helping me. So
So say you would be on your own somewhere in a bowl.
Yeah.
And I don't suppose you would all of a sudden fell out of your chair, but say for some reason someone would be flying by, you would lose your balance and for some reason fall on the floor. What would happen? Would you know how to get up again?
Oh yeah. If I needed to get up again, I would just, if I was strapped into my chair, just take the strap off, put this, put the chair back on its side where it belongs, and then just pull myself up. So
Okay.
I thought I'd get in a chair. It was just a matter of I was strapped into it, and I had people all around me, so they helped me rather than I do it myself. But I can do it.
Yeah. Let's hope you don't have to do it too often, but
Yeah,
um,
that I've never had to do that.
that wouldn't be nice, especially outside. Ooh. Yeah. So endurance, yeah, I think that's one of the most important things of the whole. Well, actually, every aspect is so important. What we're talking about when it comes to Invictus games, and also regaining your strength and health. But it's the keep on going, and then every time just a little bit further, which actually gets you places.
Yeah, it's just a
When
matter of
it's
not the little actions and just do it every day and not giving up. It'll get you there. It might be slow, but it'll get you there.
Yeah, whenever I go to certain places, it's like the first time I was able to go to the gas station without my crutches and pay. That was already a big win. And then when I could actually go there from a place which was like far away in the corner where I'd been taking gas and could go to the door, that was another win. And then when I could go to the gas station where I could also do grocery shopping,
Yeah,
that was another win. And
yeah,
it's building up time and again, like, oh, I remember I could only walk this far, and now I can even go further. And it was last week that I finally got reminded, and I don't know why it happened, but about a week ago, it was really like, oh my God, my ankle is hurting.
yeah.
I was like, what have I done that my ankle is starting to hurt? And it was probably because I had been playing the drums. And then, everything got a little bit tighter, all the muscles, and the joint didn't um, move the way it should. So,
Yeah.
but that was weird, after not having felt that all that time, it was like, ooh, I had forgotten how that felt. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but still, in the next few days, I was walking again, like I always did, and it was like, oh, this feels good again. Yeah, and that's so.
Good.
So yeah, endurance is, being able to go one step ahead at a time. It's so important. And then last but not least, self-esteem. And self-esteem is the way you look at yourself when something happens that causes some sort of disability or discomfort, whether mental or physical, visible or invisible. And with the latter, I mean, it can be visible as in you know where it is, but it can be invisible for other people. It might cause you to decrease your self-worth. And that's
Yeah.
why I love the Invictus games, because they came from all over the world and there they were.
Yeah. I have situational depression, so like something will happen and then I'll get down on myself, and if I don't like take care of it and think about it and redirect myself, it'll get worse and worse and worse. And over time, I've had bad self-esteem, bad self-confidence, and it had to do with the chair and limiting beliefs in what I thought I could do, what I thought I couldn't do, what people thought I couldn't do, and that'll if you don't reflect on it and think about it and work on it, it'll send you down a bad rabbit hole.
That's true. That's true. That's totally true. When I grew up, I was lots of times in a negative state of mind. I think that's also something which is pretty common to teenagers. But I don't know. The moment I started working and talking to other people, that totally changed. And I can't tell you when it switched. I do remember when I started from becoming an introvert to an extrovert and felt better about myself. That had to do with me still being 16 or 17 years old, and I was working at a holiday job with some people, and they treated me like an adult instead of
Mm-hmm.
being bullied. Well, that made all the difference to me. So, but yeah, it hardly ever happens nowadays that I feel like depressed. Usually, I'm very energetic. So when I don't feel um, good physically, or when everything is going haywire, things are absolutely not going the way I want it to, and that's something I do have when I become restless. That's when I need to do something about it. It's the restless part, the hyperactivity, which actually gets the better of me. And then I really need to start walking. I need to start doing something to get rid of that excessive amount of energy. So that's the way it shows up nowadays on my end.
Yeah. Yeah. I've just dealt with it my whole life. It comes up only when I do something that I perceive as wrong, or someone says that, even if it's a constructive criticism, I always take it as worse than it is. My default is just to go harder on myself and worse than it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I totally get it. So I know about um, going hard on yourself, what that's like. Um, I think I've eased up when it comes to myself.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I.
but I do know it, and that's probably why I didn't resonate with the word discipline.
Hmm.
Because if I look back and think about what I was like growing up, I remember playing the piano, and when it didn't go right, I would literally hit my fist on the piano, or I would bite in it, all those things. And it wasn't until people told me, like, "Hey, what are you doing?" that I was like, "Oh, well, maybe that's not what I'm supposed to be doing," you know?
Yeah.
And scratching myself, all that stuff, And the young people nowadays, they just get a razor blade, but I did it with my nails. We all have those little things. Um, so no, so nowadays I've got a what I call a virtual accountability partner. That's usually a little bit less stressful because it's only in the mind,
Yeah.
but it
That's
does work. So that's good.
that's a good idea.
Yeah. So concluded, um, the Invictus games have the goal not to just increase and or return your self-esteem. It's also meant to inspire others to keep pushing ahead, using discipline, turning discipline into habits, applying various routines to those habits,
Yeah.
applying the training, which is helping you move forward the best, requiring strength to keep pushing through, all leading eventually to endurance and that so much needed increase in self-esteem.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I think if you have the right mindset and you think about it, and I'm a big believer in self reflection sessions. So you should ask yourself what's going wrong, what's going right, what do you need to do, why didn't you do this, and then just not be mean to yourself, but be on top of yourself, and just think about what you need to do, and just have a plan and work the plan. That's the main thing.
Yeah, and if you don't have to plan, make that
Yeah,
plan. Start writing. Start somewhere.
yeah,
Doesn't matter where. Just do
yeah,
it.
yeah. That's true.
So, do you have anything to add? Maybe about the Invictus games, maybe about what we mentioned here, maybe something totally different.
Just I like watching the Invictus games. Like I said, my wife loves the royal family, so it's big here. So I've known about the games. I didn't actually know that had passed. I didn't think about them, but I've heard about them and read about them. It's just a matter of having the right mindset, and keeping going, and working hard, and not being mean to yourself, and being honest and easier on yourself. And I think if you do all of that, you'll be okay.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. And it's also combined with being easy on yourself, especially be proud of what you've achieved, even when you have a bad day.
Yeah,
If you tried and maybe you didn't succeed, at least you tried. And that's something that so many people don't even do. They don't even try.
yeah, yeah.
And
That's true. Because they don't think they don't think they can, and they don't want to risk being looked at or laughed at or like embarrassing themselves.
mhm. Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true. But the question is, who is embarrassing who? Because the only one in the end who will will blame you is yourself. You will blame yourself for not having tried it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. If you don't try, yeah, you're the only one that's gonna blame you. Yeah, and that's what somebody once said to be the biggest. I'm like a deathly afraid of failure. I have like a crippling fear of it. And someone once told me that the biggest failure is not doing it.
So tell me something. If you have this crippling fear of failure,
Hmm.
how come that you're not only doing this show with me, but you are actually doing this other show on Friday where you actually invite people?
I'm forcing myself to be an extrovert. And, when I this is I had two blogs, Wheels and Warriors, but before that, I had a blog that was an arts and culture blog. I would go to concerts, albums. I would review EPs, plays, musicals, that kind of thing. But the reason I did it was because I love music, number one, and number two, I wanted to force myself and get myself out of that my shell and make myself an extrovert. So I think if you, in my case, are afraid of failure, you have to stare into the sun and go for it.
Did you ever play on stage?
I no, I've been on stage. I've been on a few stages in Vegas because since I reviewed concerts at bars, I knew the bar owners and they would just put me on stage. But I've never actually played on stage.
Hmm. That's one of the things I still want to do. And when I'm on my own doing a solo thing, I usually don't have a problem with it. But when I'm part of a group, and especially when I'm playing the drums, then I'm the backbone.
Yeah.
And that's that's such a huge responsibility that before I had the whole um, tripping on the brick thing, I had been playing for over 2 decades, I
Hmm.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could play drums quite well, but still, it was like, I don't know if I'm steady enough, I can keep the beat. And then later on, I heard through friends that they actually usually have a click in their headphones.
Oh,
So
oh,
that, of course, changes the whole game.
yeah.
So people can actually get a little bit of an idea what the Invictus games are about. And if you are watching this on Instagram, it's all in my stories. I always keep forgetting I'm live, and then I'm looking at the screen and I'm like, I'm live. Michael,
Yes.
shall I start?
What do I want to start? Um, sure.
Well,
I'm not sure where I'm going to go. Uh,
let me start for a sec. I'm
okay,
sorry.
sorry.
No, it's okay.